Hey, what is up? So glad you could join us here and sink your teeth into this Eagles 2021 schedule. Danny Pommells, along with my guy Barrett Brooks, here to break it all down. And hey, we knew they would be dibbling and dabbling in the NFC South and the AFC West. We knew that there were a few other opponents there, like the Detroit Lions, as well as the 49ers, that would be mixed in. But we didn't quite know the order of events, and the Eagles are not going to London. They will not have more than two nationally televised games. They also will be playing on Halloween. We will dip and dive into it all. Let's start with week one, Barrett. We kind of found out some of the schedule earlier in the day, particularly this opening game where I mean, not quite a homecoming for Kyle Pitts, but he's playing the team he grew up watching here as the Atlanta Falcons and the Eagles get it on in week one, September 12th. Julio, Matt Ryan, Calvin Ridley, and Kyle Pitts. Can the Eagles offense keep up with what the Falcons will bring to the table?
And they just brought in Patterson, a guy that can come in and play special teams and instant score. So, yep. I mean, this is going to be an exciting game. Both teams have new coaches. Both teams have defenses they don't know about. I'm looking for this to be a great game, a great measuring rod on this new coaching staff coming into fold. You know, I can't wait to see this first game, man. Underneath the lights, down in Atlanta. Hey, man, this is football is all about. It's going to be a tough game for them. But I'm going to tell you what, man, I really think the Eagles could pull this out.
Yeah, for the first time in 5 years, the Eagles will not have Doug Peterson patrolling the sidelines. Nick Sirianni calling the shots here for the Birds, and he will get a test in week one as this offense will be pretty prolific. I mean, you were really high on Kyle Pitts in the draft. Here he is with the Eagles right in his sights in week one. Does his versatility, you think, present even a bigger problem than maybe guys like Julio Jones or Calvin Ridley, or is it really the trifecta of those guys that the Eagles are worrying about?
Of course, it's going to be, all three phases of the game when you talk about a guy that can stretch the field. And at this point, that offense has all three phases covered. They can run the ball. You look at them, Pitts being in there. He can, roam around the middle of that field. You have to account for where he is. He's such a big, strong, and fast type of player. Do you line up a safety against him? Do you line up a linebacker against him? And, of course, Julio Jones will come in and do his thing. At the end of the day, this Eagles team really need to go out and focus on playing fundamental defense, really understanding where they need to be, assignment correct, and run a defense, that this new coaching staff is going to have them running. So, they're going to be tried at each level of the defense. I really want to see what type of defense they want, number one. And number two, can they stop some big firepower from, an explosive type of, so to say, offense? We don't know what type of offense yet, but an explosive offense that they could be just from the athletes they have to offer.
Hey, we're not even sure who the starting quarterback is at this point. So this is all a bit of speculation. But right. If I had to put your feet to the fire, B. Brooks, win or loss week one for the Birds?
You know what? I want to start this year out right. I got a lot of faith in Hurts. He's doing all the right things, being, a team leader. I think he wins the job at this point, going out and securing themselves as starters for the Eagles. And they win the game just because he's going to will them to do it. I can't wait, man. This is the new guy coming in, establishing himself, working with a coaching staff that, that is young. They want to light it up a little bit. This is just what the doctor ordered from a standpoint of him coming in on an even page with everything. I see the Eagles pulling this one off. First victory, week number one, new coaching staff.
Going into Atlanta, pulling out a W in week one. Hey, this is going to be a year that none of us have ever seen before, with a 17-game season, 8 home games, 9 road games. That will flip-flop next season for the Birds with 9 home games and 8 road games. But here they are with a W in week one. And then in week two, a very winnable game with the 49ers coming to South Philly. September 19th, the 49ers in South Philly, Barrett. Really, that seems like a 2-0 start to me. If you're thinking they can win in Atlanta, they got to be able to beat the Niners at home, no?
Well, I don't know, man. We're talking about a rough and tough Shanahan-based team. We don't know who's going to be the quarterback. Is it going to be the young kid from North Dakota? I don't know. But if they go forward, man, this is going to be a team in which you're going to see the physicality and how physical of a mindset this Eagles offensive staff goes in, this defensive Eagles staff goes in. Are they going to be a rough and tough type of team? Well, they're going to be tested this week against the 49ers, week 2, at home, in the link. Can they go out and start up a tradition that, at this point, They had that. You come home, you win. Period, point blank. You win at home. Can they establish it here with this new coaching staff? I want to see the physicality of this team. If they can come out there and push around the 49ers, I see some big things in the future for this team.
So with all the 49ers endured last season, you see them coming across country to maybe really push the Eagles and maybe, I don't know, it seems like you're leaning toward a loss, maybe beat them in their home opener?
This is going to be a team that's they're healthy this year. They weren't healthy last year, and that's why they played under expectations.
Right.
They did not have help. They were more of a walking wounded than we were here in Philadelphia. So when you look at what they bring to the table as far as defensively, this is a rough defense, a physical defense. They rush well, from the both ends. Bosa's back. We're talking about a guy that is a double-digit sack guy. He has a lot to prove going to his second game. He didn't play last year because he got hurt. He has a little bit of that, juice ready to go out there and play. Can he go up against, either Jordan Mailata or Dillard on that left side? This is going to be where I think the Eagles figure out who they are as a team. If they're a physical team, can they handle being with the big boys? And I think the 49ers, being healthy as they are, they come in and they might take one away from our Eagles early.
So that's a loss for you in the home opener. Is that true?
I'm saying it's going to be a loss with the 49ers.
They will take that loss and travel to week 3 to the showdown that is the matchup against the Dallas Cowboys in Jerry World, Monday Night Football. Woo! Week 3. Your guy, Micah Parsons, there for his first Monday night game, a guy you were very high on in the draft. Of course, we got Zeke, Dak Prescott coming back from his injury. A lot going on, Vander Esch. But we can go on and on. What do you think will happen from the Birds in this matchup? Jalen Hurts, give him credit, a kid that shows he is ready for the primetime spotlight. And I don't think that will affect him. But what do you think will happen here?
Well, at this point, this is where the Eagles, I really want to see Monday night against the Lights. A Cowboys team that
I'm getting the goosebumps. I'm getting the goosebumps, man.
A physical game. This coaching staff learns what it is to play in a Dallas Cowboy game. Being here from Philadelphia, you learn that early. I came in as a rookie. They told you one team that you're going to hate, and you're going to love to hate them, and I still hate them, are the Dallas Cowboys. And I don't hate much in my life, but I do hate that star, man. And I think they're going to have that same type of juice going into this game. Monday night against the Lights, the only things going on, the Eagles going to be tested. I can never say, and I can never bet against my Eagles team going against Dallas. So I'm going to go with a win, but this is where they're going to try. The secondary, we really didn't do much in the draft with the secondary. We drafted 2 guys, in the secondary. But I really think that, they're just going to have too much offense for this Eagles team, man. Too much offense. The defense, I want them to be ready for it. I'm hoping they're going to be ready for it. But can this defense stop the likes of CeeDee Lamb, Zeke Elliott, Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper? They have a lot of weapons, man. But I can't bet against my Eagles, man. Monday night, Birds get the win, baby. Let's go. Birds get the win.
All right, so 2-1 here to start the season, but it will be a short week because they will bounce back to come back to South Philly and welcome back the Super Bowl winning former winningest Eagles coach of all time, Andy Reid, in South Philly as the Kansas City Chiefs. And you talk about prolific offenses, and speed kills, and Tyreek Hill has a ton of it. So the Eagles corners should be well rested, hopefully, on this short week as they play KC in South Philly. 2-1 headed into that game. Their first AFC opponent on the slate. How does that go, do you think, Barrett, as they dabble into the AFC West?
Well, we know Big Red is used to winning here in Philadelphia, man. And the Tyreek Evans, Tyreek Hill, we're talking about speed, straight speed. Mm-hmm. That offensive line that they're trying to assemble there with Big Red out there in Kansas City, I don't know if they're going to travel well against, the link, especially when we just heard that it might be 100% capacity. That's 100% of ravenous fans going crazy, wild, ready to rock and roll. Big Red might not be able to think. He might not be able to hear himself. So hopefully the crowd gives us, what they need to slow down that prolific offense. And, we understand that, the Chiefs just leaving the Super Bowl. They lost the Super Bowl. They got a lot to prove. Eagles going in and playing against, a coach that was beloved here. But, I got to go with the Chiefs at this point, man. Their offense is really too good to really think that they could slow them down, especially with our DB situation. I mean, I need somebody, Slay and Avonte Maddox are only guys that are really proven right now. So I don't know how you would face a prolific offense like that without the DBs to handle it.
Well, we don't know what Kyle Pitts will be, but I'm going to go out on a limb and just say that this will be the third prolific tight end that they will see here with Travis Kelce coming to South Philly, along with Kittle and Pitts in that mix. Hey, man, they better be ready. These are some top-notch offenses that they'll be facing here in the early going. Are you confident in the defense and how they can respond and deal with this week-to-week pressure?
And that's the only problem, man. I mean, at this point, I don't know what defense they're going to run. I know it's going to be a 4-3. Are they going to be a blitzing defense, a pressure defense? Are they going to be like their counterpart, and sit back and let the defensive line play? I'm hoping they bring a little more pressure with the DBs that they have. They're going to have to do something to generate some pressure just to give their DBs a chance to cover. So, going with a guy with Kelce, Kelce in the middle of that offense, he understands how to run against, zone defenses, sits down in the zone. Soft he runs faster. Yes. I mean, that's what he's great at. And we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, like he's the number one quarterback, in NFL right now. And, that's a lot to ask a young defensive coordinator to go out and stop. You look at it, man, prolific offense, 4 weeks in a row. This is going to try this defense of the Eagles, So, I can see the Eagles going in and playing tough, really tough against the Chiefs. And the head coach has some history with the Chiefs. So, I mean, this will be a great game, but I don't know if he's ready for Big Red, and the offense that he's bringing into town from Kansas City.
On the seesaw, we are win-loss for Barrett Brooks thus far, as the Eagles are 2-2 heading into Carolina. Christian McCaffrey, Sam Darnold, a bit of a reprieve here as the Eagles obviously have a better chance of figuring out Sam Darnold than they do some of these other offenses with Matt Ryan and, Patrick Mahomes, as you mentioned. So I'm just going to think that this plays in the Birds' favor, as they might be the road favorite here going into Carolina, although a 2-2 record, I mean, who knows? But what do you think about this Carolina matchup?
Well, they don't get a chance to breathe, but they at least get to calm down a little bit, go against a team that they should be able to beat up on. We're talking about an offensive line, our offensive line. They're going to play well. If they stay healthy, they're one of the better offensive lines in the league. And I really think they can handle the pass rush of this Panthers D-line. So, all things being equal, I think the Eagles' offensive line is going to help them come through the day. I think they're going to run a lot. I mean, we've got some new backs in the backfield. And, they're going to help out Miles Sanders in carrying the load. So this could be, one of those matchups that should work in our favor. They should go down there and get a nice little win against this Panthers team, simply because the offensive line and defensive line both better going against the Panthers than any other opponent they faced thus far on their schedule.
All right, right now, the Birds have not won at home, according to Barrett Brooks. So all of their wins have come on the road. We come into week 6 with Tom Terrific stomping into South Philly on a short week, no doubt, for Thursday night football, Barrett. This don't seem like a win either. All due respect to all the fans, they're going to be enjoying this, but this might be another underdog game for the Birds, even though they're at home, and you at least get 3 points. But Tom Terrific, the defending Super Bowl champs, as the Birds face their third NFC South opponent here in week 6. What are you thinking about this game on Thursday Night Football, Barrett?
You know what? I think that it takes this Buccaneer team a lot to get going during the season. They always fall off and play bad early in the season. And I think this is one of those games where the Eagles will be able to sneak up on Tom Terrific and the rest of those guys. Gronk is not going to be worried about playing early in the season. Leonard Fournette's not going to be playing as hard as he played during the Super Bowl. So I think they'll bowl better against, this Buccaneer team going in, since it's early in the season. And they might sneak a win. I think they're going to sneak a win against this team. They're not going to be ready. They're not going to be focused on a lowly Eagles team with a second-year quarterback, with a rookie coaching staff. They're not going to practice as hard as they should. So I think this gives us an opportunity to come in and, get up on them a little bit, and win this game.
Barrett feeling good here as week 6 approaches. The Birds faithful with their first victory in front of the home crowd. It will be a fun October week. My son's birthday is October 13th. That game's on the 14th. Hopefully,
it's already there.
It carries some good momentum into that. So many people, these schedules come out and they're not even looking at the opponent necessarily, but the place where the games will be played. And in week 7, Las Vegas, baby. Sin City is the location as two terrific fan bases. The Raiders and the Eagles meet up. I mean, this ain't the 1980 Super Bowl, no Dick Vermeil and whatnot, Vince Papale, et cetera. But here we are with the Raiders and the Eagles in week 7, October 24th. Interesting game. The Birds in this AFC West, with some tough matchups. Obviously, the Kansas City, you think it's a double W, but
already, baby,
their quarterback issues probably precipitated some of that. But speak your piece. What do you think about this?
I mean, we're talking about they're going into a town where it's going to be a transient fan base. I mean, they're opening up a club in the stadium. They're not even thinking about playing football. It's not going to be the old Raiders. When I went in and played them, when you look over the sideline, you see guys out there, faces painted black and silver with shoulder pads on with spikes. That's not going to be the environment in Vegas.
I don't know. It might be a little bit of that, a little essence.
I'm going to tell you this, man. I played against the Raiders when they were the Raiders, when they had, Swilling, Patrick Swilling. They had guys that'll go out there and it'll be a fight every single play. Well, I don't see this Raiders team being that way. Although they have my guy there. John Gruden was my offensive coordinator my first couple of years in the league. I love Gruden, dog. And I worked with him for 4 years. But I just can't see him turning the corner and getting this team in a position to beat up on this Eagles team. Especially they're coming into town. And the fan base is not going to give them any help because, these are guys coming in. They're coming in to hit the slots and go out there and bet and all that stuff. They're not really worried about what the Raiders did. That's all right, let's just go watch a Raiders game. We can do that. But Eagles fans will travel, and I think they take over the stadium and they kick everybody out of that DJ booth, and there will be no playing when the Eagles are playing. You know what I mean? They're going to make sure they come out and take over the stadium, bro. That's what's happening. In Raider Nation, it's going to be Vegas locked down in that Kelly green, bro. That Kelly green and gray. I love it, man. Eagles go in and beat up on the Raiders.
Ladies and gentlemen, suddenly we got a website, Barrett Brooks with 3 wins in a row for the Birds as they're streaking heading into Detroit on Halloween. I was hoping they would get a Halloween game. I was hoping it would be in South Philly because that would be the best. But October 8th against the Detroit Lions, they got Penei Sewell protecting their quarterback out of the draft. Do you think it could get spooky for the Birds in the Motor City?
Well, they do have Deuce there. They do have, the special teams coach there. From the Eagles. So, this is going to be a little personal, and he's going to have his running backs ready to rock and roll. A former guy, Swift, who's from Philly, went to Georgia.
DeAndre Swift.
And DeAndre Swift. Yeah, exactly. So, he's down there, and Deuce is going to have him ready to, eat, gunpowder and
gasoline. Drink gasoline. Right.
I mean, he'll be ready. He'll be ready to rock and roll. And Penei Sewell's a rookie. He's going to be going against one of the better defensive ends in the league in BG. BG has a little bit left in the tank. He can make the young guy, move around a little bit. But I can see the Eagles coming in and really putting it on the Lions. It's still the Lions, the lowly Lions. I had that uniform on before. It's just not a football town. Playing, for the Fords is a lot different than playing for other owners. Yes, there's a lot of, they want to win. There's a lot of, of excitement for this new coaching staff up there. I actually played with Campbell when I was with the Giants. And, he's going to be a good coach. He's going to get those guys turned in the right direction. It's just not early enough right now for them to go ahead and take that next step. I think they have a lot of learning to do to be a winning organization. He'll get them going in the right direction. It just won't be this early, and it won't be right now. So, the Lions have a lot to turn around there. It's not just, as far as players, but it's culturally they're not a winning team. So you have to learn that culture. You have to learn how to be a winner. I think the Eagles, even though they don't have the same head coach, I think that winning culture is still around. It'll still be, hanging around in a locker room. And they'll come into that stadium and beat up on those lines a little bit and get another win. We get another W there.
We need to put in the Frank the Tank meme right now, because the Eagles are streaking. Not the kind you get arrested for, but right. 4 wins in a row, according to Barrett Brooks, as we flip the page to week 9. And you talked about taking over stadiums. The LA Chargers, that experience, the Eagles, did a great job doing that previously, but the Chargers are traveling across the country, coming to South Philly. This quarterback situation is interesting. Are you looking at this November 7th game as they finish out October? The first 2 months of the season are over. They're coming into this home game after being on the road for a good bit, a few weeks. What do you see happening with this Chargers game? Obviously, probably a 4:05 game or some 4:25 game.
Well, this will be a tough test for this Eagles team. They got a good young quarterback. They went in the first round, got them a nice offensive lineman. The Chargers are not a team in which you could sleep on. The other Bosa, the first Bosa, is going to be there rushing the passer. This is going to be tough, because, the last time they were here, they really gave it to the Eagles. And, it's going to be tough for them to go out there and think they're going to get, a different result. I know they're going to be at home. I know the Eagles are going to be at home. But this Chargers team, they got a new coach there. They have a new winning mentality going into this season because they got a good quarterback, So I think this will be a tough one for the Eagles, and it's going to be tough for them to beat this Chargers team, considering that defense is pretty good, and, the offense can be really, really good with, another year experience with their new quarterback.
Win or loss, Barrett?
You know what? This might be another loss, man. The trend stops here. I think the Chargers take over, and they kind of squeeze one out and leave the link with a victory.
Tough sledding at home this season, according to Barrett Brooks. The Birds with just one home victory, and that's coming against Tom Terrific in Week 6. Man, we move on as the Eagles are taking on the mile-high Denver Broncos in Week 10. Von Miller gritting his teeth, ready to enact some type of pressure and havoc on this Eagles offense. Is a young Hurts ready for Von Miller and the Denver Broncos?
I think they will. Defensively, this Broncos team has some good rushers, but after that, they went out and got, my cornerback.
Yeah.
So they went and got Patrick Stammer first round.
Maybe he could be traded if they bring in Aaron Rodgers. Who knows? There's so much has been going on.
Well, Steve, I hope not, because I don't want Rodgers there, and let A-Rod stay with Green Bay for right now, But, I mean, this is a Broncos team. They've also lost the winning culture there. And, I think the Eagles can go up there and really move those Broncos around, push them around a little bit, and they get a win in Mile High Stadium. I think the culture there is so bad that it's going to be hard for them to learn how to win again. I understand that, Von Miller being back, he didn't play last year, but, he got hurt last year. But it still doesn't change the fact that it's just one guy. And you look at what the Eagles are trying to do. I think they're going to try to run the ball and be very effective on the ground. And if they could do that, they can beat up on this Broncos team. They won't have to pass as much. We know that we have a dual threat in Hurts. I think Jalen's going to take over the reins, and he's going to get a rhythm. Now, this is Week 10. You're no longer a rookie after your fourth game. Now he steps into being a guy that all right, I'm expected to go out there and win now. I'm expected to be a franchise quarterback, and those expectations help him play at a higher level. He's going to be comfortable with the weapons that he has, the young weapons that he has. He has a Heisman Trophy candidate that's now stepping into the system, and Smith is going to be key into keeping the chains moving. He's not going to be a guy that I think is going to go out and bust big plays, but he will be a guy to be going out and catching first downs, keeping the sticks moving, be that safety blanket for his quarterback that he played for in college. So, yes, I think this is where they start getting that rhythm. and Hurts starting to build a camaraderie with the rest of the receivers also. And that offensive line protects him enough that he gets comfortable and he runs through the offense, runs through his reads, and they become a better offense at this point because they play 10 games together with the coaching staff and with the weapons that they have out there defensively and offensively.
If Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith can travel to Denver and take care of business there's no way they can come home and lose to Jameis Winston and the New Orleans Saints, right?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Week 11, that will be a W as well, huh?
No question. The Saints, they've lost the man. Drew Brees is gone. It really takes a lot of what that Saints team had. The win in themselves will no longer be there. They don't even know what their quarterback situation is going to be anyways. They just paid a guy a whole lot of money, and Jameis Winston, they're going to pistol him as the starter. I mean, there's a dynamic there that just doesn't make sense to me. I see them, going downhill now, even though that defense is pretty good, and I like the guys they have rushing off the ends. I can't see them beating the Eagles because the Saints, offensively will be kind of inept. Even though they have, Kamara running the rock, they still won't be in a position to be, to be a team that we saw earlier on with Drew Brees there. So I think this is a victory for them because, they don't know what they want to do at the quarterback position.
We haven't played an NFC East opponent since week 3, but here come the New York Giants and Saquon Barkley, Kenny Golladay in the mix, Sterling Shepard. What do you make of what these guys will be when the Eagles match up with them and head to New York to take them on? Because this doesn't seem like a cakewalk at all.
No question. They went out and got all the weapons they could for Daniel Jones. Like you said, they got Kenny Golladay. They went out and drafted Tony from Florida, an elusive runner. They want him to be a Tyreek Hill. He doesn't have the speed that Tyreek Hill has, but he does have some versatility in his ability to, run after the catch. So they're gonna game plan him, get him some balls. They're moving around, jet sweeps, tunnel screens, things of that nature. But I think the biggest threat is they got their running back. That's going to be where we have to make our hay, stopping the run. If we could stop the run, we can be, very competitive in this game. But, when you got Jones running that read option with the back they have, I don't know, if this Eagles team is ready to stop a, prolific runner like that. This will be a great game for them to start out and see what they are as far as in the division. You're starting, the second game in the division against a Giants team that's supposed to be better than them. They're at home, and they, get them all the weapons that they can. Just like you said, Golladay, Sterling Shepard, the list goes on and on. But, I like the fact that the Eagles are going into Giants Stadium. We've seen Miracle of Meadowlands so many times. I don't think it's going to take a miracle to beat this Giants team. If they could stop Saquon Barkley in the backfield, I really think that they can beat this Giants team, pretty good.
Win or loss?
I say it's going to be a win. It's going to be a win in the Giants Stadium.
Well, I'm going to piggyback off of that because if you're beating the Giants in Giants Stadium, you're not going to that same place and losing to the Jets. So in week 13, as they take on the Jets, is that a W for you as well?
Man, they could take off. They could take off to play the Jets. Come on, man.
They take off the next week. They got the bye. So this is back-to-back bye weeks?
Back-to-back bye weeks, man. Like I said, Wilson picked at number 2. I thought that he was the second or third best quarterback in this draft. They thought he was a guy that can come in and save their franchise. I don't know if Wilson is ready to do that yet. This Jets organization don't know how to win just yet. And, it's not time for them to beat an Eagles team that, I think will be trending in the right direction. The Jets will be staying stagnant, and I think the Eagles will be trending in the right direction. And Wilson, as a quarterback, won't be ready to take the reins of a Jets team that doesn't know how to win yet. So, yes, the Eagles beat up on the Jets, and, they go in with this bye week with a win and, have a week off and then, start with the division again.
And so far, so that's 2 4-game winning streaks for the Eagles on this schedule for Barrett Brooks. That will be 10 wins heading into the bye or week 14. So we are 10-4 heading into week 14. Really gets tight after the bye, man, because if the Jets were the cakewalk, Washington, New York, Washington, Dallas to end the season will not be a cakewalk. Chase Young, Terry McLaurin, Fitzmagic, and the Washington football team await them coming out of the bye. What is it? If Andy Reid was prolific out of the bye, Nick Sirianni can steal some of that mojo too, right? I mean, what do you think to expect here as they host the Washington football team here coming out the bye, Barrett?
That defense, man, that defense. We're talking about, there's literally six first-round draft choices.
A lot of Alabama
on that defense.
On that.
Right. I mean, a lot of Alabama, man. And when you say that, that they honestly building that team defensively. That's why they can go out and get a Fitzpatrick out there, and he can work his magic because all he has to do is not lose the game. The defense will keep him scoring 17 points. So because of that, I really think, that it's going to be tough for this Eagles team to beat this Washington football team. And, it's going to be a sense that, the Eagles at this point, they're going to have to at least split with the Washington football team, and their best way to do it is to win at home. But I just don't know, man. I'm in a position right now where, I'm finding it hard for the Eagles, especially with the offensive line that we have. And I know they're going to be playing great if everything's healthy and all things being equal. That defense against the Eagles offensive line is going to be a push. And the only way that this Eagles team will win if they can control the offensive line, control the line of scrimmage, and that offensive line pushes guys around, they can run the ball against this Washington team. So I think
we saw McLaurin get behind those DBs before.
Right. Well, that too. We're not even talking about the defensive side of the ball where, we still have just, Avonte Maddox with some experience and Darius Slay. So I think they're going to split, and I think they get this one. The
Eagles win against the Washington football team week 15.
Yes.
At home.
Yep.
All right. Well, the fans getting treated to a little excitement from the NFC East as another W, 11 wins for the Eagles heading into week 16. The Giants at home. Are they sweeping the Giants next season?
No.
Or this
season?
They're not.
No, they're not. There's at that point, they're also going to be on a tear. The Giants will be coming into, Daniel Jones being the guy that they thought he was going to be. He's going to be used to, throwing a Galladay. And we all know, Saquon Barkley is going to probably take over the league then and probably be the leading rusher in the NFL. So, he's going to come back with a vengeance. And I think this game, he goes out and shows why he'll be the number one rusher in the league. And, the Eagles split with the Giants again.
And you're looking at the schedule. It's the day after Christmas. You're at home. The Eagles, you kind of with the family. It's going to be a tough,
tough. It'll be a tough loss. Yeah, man.
Yeah, you got to get up for that game the day after Christmas. For those that celebrate. But December is over, and we head to January with another matchup against this Washington football team down in the nation's capital. Tough back-to-back for the Birds, but games they will probably have to have if they're trying to win the division and not be in the wild card. So is this a win against Washington in week 17?
Well, it's week 17. And, we know that, injuries start, probably kicking in around, week 15, 16, 17. And like I said, they're going to split with Washington. And I think that, the Birds, from a little, nick here and a nick there and guys not starting, finally started to, show a little bit of weakness and, a little kryptonite as far as that offensive line. And this is where they lose up front from this Washington football team. They take the game over, and they might beat up on Hurts a little bit simply because that defense, those guys have been pretty healthy for, substantial part of their career. So this is going to be a loss. They're going to split with Washington. This will be a loss.
And Dallas in our bonus game, the 17th week of the season at home, South Philly, January 9th. That'll be bitterly cold, but warm for Eagles fans, I guess, because you're predicting a sweep of the Dallas Cowboys this year, huh?
I want to bad, man, but, the analyst in me, can't be alive.
You can't end the season with 3 losses, Barrett.
I understand.
You can't go 3 losses.
I understand. And when I looked at the schedule, I actually, looked at the schedule, was like, you know what? Man, that's 4 losses, at the end of the season. But I'm gonna say they beat Washington the first week, but then after that, man, it's gonna be hard sailing for them. And this is where the good playoff teams, and I really think Dallas. I hate to say it, man, but yeah, I gotta say it, man. Dallas puts it on us, this last week, and this is when they win the division. I think they split with all the teams, and Dallas gets the upper hand on them, and they win the division on week 18.
Is 11 wins enough to get the Eagles into the playoffs, though?
Yes, I do. I think it's just enough. Just enough to get them
11-6, the Birds will finish, according to Barrett Brooks. Just enough to squeak into the playoffs.
I mean, it's gonna be a squeak too. it's gonna be a squeak, man. Because we're talking about other NFC teams that are gonna be, supposed to be pretty good now. Supposed to be a pretty good Vikings team. Coming out of the woodworks. A lot of these teams have gotten better. Look at the Rams have gotten better. They went out and got D-Jax. I think they've gotten better. San Fran is going to be a contender also in that division. We always, waiting for Seattle to do what they're going to do and see where they fit as far as the playoff race. So there's some good teams that they have to jump over, but I think 11 wins, they might get over that hump. It should be enough, but, with that extra game, it might have given them a little bit more of an incentive, man. But I hate to do it to us, man. But, the last 3 games, we're not going to win the last 3 games, man.
How do you feel about the Birds' strength of schedule here? Do you feel like they got a fair shake when they came to the schedule?
No, we didn't get a fair shake. The Eagles did not get a fair shake. No, they didn't. I mean, come on, man. That's one of the hardest schedules there are right now. I feel like
every team says that. Every team says that. Oh, it's so hard. But
we got the Super Bowl champs, man. Come on, man. We got the runner-up in the Super Bowl. I mean, you're asking a team to go out there and play the first 3 or 4 games, or with
the first
teams
4 games are brutal. Yes.
Yeah.
First 4 games are brutal.
And then the last 4 games are brutal. Why do they always do it to us? They always put those last 4 games.
Well, look at the gap between division games. So it's like you almost forget about the division altogether.
Exactly.
I haven't looked at the Giants schedule. I haven't looked at any of these other schedules, but I don't know how the gap and spacing between their games, but still,
this is a schedule where, how do you expect them to go? Number one, they're going to take the 49ers now healthy. They're not going to be the same 49er team that they played last year. This is going to be a healthier team. They're going to be ready to rock. Then they go on and they play the Cowboys. They squeak a win out, but still, the Cowboys this early. Then they have the Chiefs. Let alone the Chiefs, we play the Buccaneers in week 6. I mean, come on, man. And then you turn around, you have you have the Raiders, you have the Lions, but then the Chargers is an up-and-coming team. They get a little bit of break with the Broncos, and then they turn around, they play the Saints, that I think they're going to sweep them a little bit. They're going to beat up on them a little bit. But then you have the Giants, a little break against the Jets, and then, this murderer's row. The last 4 games, it's going to be tough for this Eagles team. So the way they put the schedule together, it's going to be hard for them really to get up every single week for the last 4 weeks to get into the playoffs, man. That's getting up and playing at your best all 4 weeks. And it's hard for teams to do that.
The first 4 weeks and the last 4 weeks, the Eagles bookended by some tough, odds from the schedule makers of what they'll do when those games come their way. But we will be with you every step of the way, no matter what, here at NBC Sports Philadelphia. Please check us out on the website, NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com. All the work of Dave Zangaro, Ruben Frank, and them on the Eagle Eye podcast as well. We appreciate you watching here. This has been a special about the Eagles schedule release. For Barrett Brooks, I'm Danny Pommells. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.